Hi everyone, this is Lynn. Welcome to the Flying Unicorn Ustream channel. I almost said YouTube. um, Thanks for coming out tonight and watching the show. And I'm going to show you, for those of you who haven't seen it already, what we're doing. It's a stack of books. It's a home decor project, which is like one of my favorite things to do. Okay, you'll see it better as once I turn the camera down. Um, Again, the colors on it show up darker on the camera. I noticed that when I was signing in. So it's not as dark as it looks. But anyways. All right, so I do have a few announcements tonight. Next week's song will be live at 9 o'clock. I'm looking forward to that show. I always love the projects that she does. Actually, I love the projects that all the ladies on the team do. And so, yeah, make sure you come back next Wednesday as well. Also, the items that I'm using for my projects that Alda carries in the store, you can find those under the special Ustream special tab on the store page, and those items would be 10% off tonight. So that's always a good deal. Anytime you can get any kind of percentage off, it's always a good deal, right? So once again, welcome everyone. I'm really glad you came by, and I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera down and we'll get started so we can get it done. Okay, so hang on. Okay, hopefully I'm not making you guys too crazy here. Okay, so here's the project. Once again, this is a better view, and it really does look a lot darker on the camera. So it is 2 books and some loose papers, and these are vintage book pages, I guess you could say. Okay, so we're going to get started with the first book. I'm going to put this aside. Trying to figure out where to put it. Okay, so here's my 2 books. I have a large one, which this one here I've already gessoed with black gesso. And this is the one that I have, which is the Bob Ross. If you don't have black gesso, you can use any kind of flat black paint. And the 2 that I know for sure are the Delusions and the 13 Arts Matte Black. Those will work just as well. You don't want anything too shiny like normal acrylics. Okay, and this is my smaller book, and you can see I've already added some molding paste on there. I needed for this layer to be dry. And this really is a vintage book. I mean, it's an old book. Okay, now we're not going to start with this one. We're going to start with the big one for tonight. Okay, and I'm going to put it on its side, and I'm hoping you can see that. Okay, and what I'm using here, and I'll put it right there, is a piece of chipboard. It is from Too Crafty and is called Decorative Rod Set 1. Now I've already gessoed it with regular white gesso, and I always like to use my pouncer to do that. It's simple. It's nice and easy. So I'm going to glue this piece on because I want to be able to spray it as a whole. Okay, and just bear with me because for those of you who've watched me on Ustream before, you know I have issues with glue. I don't know why, but I do. Okay, so I'm just kind of hitting some spots, making sure I'm getting some of the really tiny edges. Okay, and I'm just going to glue it about right there. And because it's such a fine piece, it wants to wiggle, but once it's glued down, it will stay. And that just adds a decorative element to it. And I do want it to be as dry as I can get it before I start spraying. Okay, now if you didn't want to go with dark colors for your bottom book, you can certainly gesso with white gesso if you're just going for a lighter theme. Okay, so I'm going to put this aside to dry, and we're going to move on to the next book. Okay, and what I want to use is a Tim Holtz stencil, and it's called Measured. And I'm just going to add just a little tiny bit, just to give it a little bit more texture. This is Golden Light molding paste. You can use regular molding paste. It doesn't matter. I just prefer this one. I find it a little bit smoother. And if I want a white application as opposed to a more transparent application. This one here generally will stay white. Okay, and that's all I'm doing with that, and I'm going to put that aside, and I probably should wipe that off. So let me do that real quick. Just wipe off the excess. You don't want to leave molding paste on your stencils. It will mess them up. Okay, and I've got it all over where I need something else to be. So that's the first part. Okay, so I'm going to put that aside and let that dry a little bit. And then we'll come back and gesso and start spraying. The next step, which is the middle section of your books, which is just loose papers, and it's tied together with lace. Okay, I want to show you what I did for that. Now, I use tea. You can use coffee. I took a cup of boiling water and I added 5 tea bags to it. It's a pretty strong color, as you can see. I mean, that's really dark. Okay, if you prefer to use coffee, you can do that, no problem. And all I did was I just sprayed. I just fanned out my papers and sprayed until I got them as dark as I wanted, and that was it. Okay, you can do your book edges as well, which I may do that with the black one. I don't know yet. Okay, and then the next thing that I did was that I went ahead and added some lace just to hold it in place. And actually, I'm going to go this way. Okay, and I know it's hard for you to see, but you'll see it in a minute. Okay, and I'm just going to glue that in place on the back side. And yes, I'm using a couple different glues just because I cut the top of this one here too wide to work with the very fine detail on the chipboard piece. But it doesn't matter, whatever glue you prefer. I mean, Fabri-Tac is probably my preference. Okay, and that's just a piece from my stash. So this is still loose, okay? And then the next thing that I did was I had some of Alda's beautiful Venice laces, and I just absolutely love this. And I did this ahead of time because there's no way it would have been dry. I sprayed it with my tea mix. That's it. Okay, and I'm going to glue that. I'm just going to do a spot glue right here. Okay, right over top. Flip it over and then glue it on the back side. So I'm going to try and get as much of the wet stuff done as quickly as I can here. Which is basically the spraying and the, oh, look at that, I have a piece left over. That's awesome. Okay, gorgeous, 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 gorgeous. I love it. Okay, that's how easy that stack is. And you can tell my pages aren't all together. I don't care about that. That doesn't matter. And they're all from different books. Okay, some of them were old to begin with and I sprayed them, and some of them are not old papers. Okay, that's done. I can put that aside. Okay, so we're going to start next with this one here. We're going to go back to this, and I do have, I'm wondering if you guys are finding a difference. I put this craft type paper down instead of having the matte, and I'm wondering if you're getting a lot less glare. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray this with Lindy's Stamp Gang Starburst sprays, and of course you can use any sprays that you want. All of them will work. Okay, I have 2 colors here. One is dark chocolate truffle, which is gorgeous, and I think this is, it might be a discontinued color, or it's been, the name has been changed. The other one is cattail copper brown. Okay, and this one is really orange. And you can see that I didn't put any molding paste on here. I don't need it. It's going to be on the bottom. Okay, so I'm just going to start spraying. And for this here, you can do the back if you want it on the back. You can see I'm hitting this here as well, the chipboard. And in some spots, I'm going to make it darker, obviously, or add more spray. And then this brown, which I absolutely love. Okay, and I've got a lot on there, so I'm going to go ahead and heat. Can you see that copper? And the dark brown actually has a bit of copper and gold mixed in. It's really beautiful color. And it really shows up really nicely on the black. Of course, it shows up very nicely on the white as well. I do have a lot of spray on here. And I need to spray the sides. I just like the mix of the two colors. And you'll find too that depending on what kind of books that you have and how much gesso you've put on, the book itself will take on a different look. Princess Adrenalina, if you're still on there, yes, you can watch the video later. I am recording. And this dries pretty fast. That's one of the things I do like about having the gesso on there. And I'm not worried about it getting on my pages. As a matter of fact, I think on the other books I did spray the edges with the tea stain. And of course the fabric, because this book is bound with fabric. Oh, I'm at the end of this bottle. Let's see here. Yep, I am. It takes a little bit longer to dry, which is why I wanted to get the wet done as quickly as possible. I knew I was going to be cutting it close with that brown. Might be able to get in there with a brush and get the rest of it. And I'm not really going to do the back. I'm not going to worry about it for tonight. But you can if you want. Obviously, if you have someone pick it up, you'll want to have the back side finished really nicely. Almost dry. Okay, I think I can put that aside. Okay. So there you go. That's what that looks like. We're not done with this yet, but I need to let it dry a little bit longer. Okay. And we're going to go back to this one here, which is the red book. And that molding paste is not dry, so I'm going to help it along with some heat. I did try and do as much as I could ahead of time for you. I have it on pretty thick in spots here. But I want it to be dry enough so I can add a light coat of gesso over top. Normally I probably wouldn't use the gesso unless I was trying to change the color. But I think I will tonight just because I'm finding that some of the writing is coming through even on my molding paste. And do you have to do this part? No. I mean, you're going to have a doily on top of it. You're going to have flowers on top of it. So it's not going to show as much, so you don't have to do that. Okay, I'm thinking that's dry enough to put some gesso, and I'm using the Liquitex gesso. Don't get too hung up on brands of gesso. I actually bought some of the cheaper ones, and unless you're really doing a fine art piece, they pretty much all work the same. But I do like the Liquitex, and I do like the golden, so when I can, I do buy those. Okay, so I am just going to do just a very light coat. I just want to get rid of some of the red, even though I'm going to be spraying with red. Okay. And there goes my phone now. Is that someone? Okay, let me see. No. Okay, I'm not going to do the back, but I am going to do the edges. Because you definitely won't see the back on this one here. Okay, and that's pretty much all I need to do gesso-wise. Some more heat setting. Are you guys all excited that the brick and mortar store for Flying Unicorn is going to be open soon? September 1st, I believe I saw today. That's exciting. I know it's exciting for Alda. I'm sure that means a lot more work, though. Okay, we're calling that dry. Okay, I'm going to turn this over, which it's stuck, just so you can see better. Okay, I know it's kind of white on white, but we're not done. I have 3 different colors of mists. This is Shimmer Spritz Tuscan Sun, and this is really very, very pale, even though it does look quite dark. I find it very pale because it is a spritz, so you're not seeing a lot of it. Okay, but I'll come back and add some more. The other color that I'm using, and this is an older bottle, that's why you see this label, is Lindy's Starburst Spray. This is Canna Lily Burnt Orange, and that's a gorgeous color. I'm going to go ahead and just spray a little bit of that. You can see how dark that color is, and I mean, it really, really is gorgeous. It's got a copper tone to it, but it also has gold in it. I'm going to heat set some of that. And of course you can, you know, do the runs. And you can see all the texture from the scraping of molding paste on the bottom. And that was just a light swipe with my palette knife. That's all that was. This is the one that takes the longest because I sprayed it quite a bit just to achieve the effect that I wanted. So I'm going back with the Tuscan Sun. And of course I want to get the side, because that will show. I'm almost at the end of this bottle as well. Wonderful thing about books is they do stand up. A little bit more of the Canna Lily burnt orange. And again, like I said, you don't have to worry about the back. Definitely on this book, it's not going to show. And I know that there's some people might have an objection to altering books. I don't have a problem with it. I figure it gets sent to the thrift store, which is where I got most of these, because they were unwanted, and I'm just changing how they look so that I can love them just as they are changed. Okay, so that's the look that we have now. Now I have another color to add, and this is again Lindy's Starburst Spray. This is Bougainvillea Fuchsia. Say that 3 times fast. Okay, let me just shake it up. This is a bright, pretty bright pink. And I will go back again with more of my other colors. And you can see why I put the paper down, because it's everywhere. More of the Canna Lily, just because I want them to blend a little bit, but I wanted a coat, a base coat. So more heat setting, of course. I really like having the craft mat underneath, but I just find that for videos it tends to give too much glare. Maybe it's my lighting, I don't know. And now a little bit more yellow from the Tuscan Sun. I am at the end of this bottle. Okay. And of course you can blend your colors as much or as little as you want. That's up to you. Greens and blues would be absolutely gorgeous. I am like really loving the pink, yellow, and orange combination lately. I didn't think I ever would, but I do. And this does need to be dry before we move on. Trying to figure out where my sprayer thing is here. There we go, a little bit more yellow. And I know it looks like a hot mess, but that's okay. We kind of want the hot mess. That's what makes it look really nice in the end. And I'm just going back and forth with the colors. And that's it. That's going to be my last coat, I think. And like I said, if you want, you can keep adding more and more color over top. I mean, there does become a point where it's oversaturated and it just runs into itself. Still a little wet. The original that I did add 2 coats of gesso to that one because it was actually had pictures on it, and it was showing, and I didn't want that. And this here, I mean, if you look really hard, I suppose you could still see the writing, but it's not near as much as it was before. Okay, almost done. This is the part where I would normally walk away and just let it dry on its own. Hurry up and wait on the gesso and molding paste and everything else. Okay, so I'm calling it done. Okay, before we add anything else, I used some doilies, and I did spray this one out. I don't know how well you can see that. It's not white anymore. This is what the white one looks like. So I used my tea spray on this one here, and I'm just going to add it about right there. So you can see that I didn't really need to put molding paste everywhere here. Okay, so I'm just going to add a drop of glue here. Pull that in place, and then I'm going to pull it over on the side. Okay, and before I forget, okay, let me move this, and let's get rid of the pink paper. There, that's better, right? Okay, before I forget, I have this little word, precious, and this is 13 Arts Starlight Collection words. There's so many words in here, and you can see I started to use those at one point, but I took precious. For the other one, I used treasure, I believe it was. Okay, and all I did, you guys, I used my foam applicator and some vintage photo and just went over top. That's it. Okay, I'm going to give it a quick coat with the, let's go with the copper brown. I should have kept my paper. Trying to keep one set of papers clean just to give it some shine. Okay, that's all I'm going to do. Dry that. Whoops, come back here. Okay, pretty well dry. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and glue that down on the side of my book, and I'll show you on the other one. And I'm going to put on a decent coat, and I'm just going to move it around with my finger. You can't see that. Okay, and that's it. That's all I'm going to do. I'm going to put it on the side right about there. Okay, and I'm just going to form that P around. And do I have glue smushing out? Yes. Does it matter? No. And that's it. I'm going to let that dry on the side there. Okay, and then we're going to go back to the big book, which is this one here. And my chipboard is dry, so what I did, once I'd sprayed everything, I added some Shimmer's Creamies Get Glowing. This is a gorgeous, gorgeous color. And of course, because it's a creamy, you need to activate it with water, okay? And a paintbrush. And I may have too much water, and I do. And not only that, I think that paintbrush was dirty. So let's try a different brush. Okay, let's try that again. Okay, and I just want to highlight the chipboard with it. And the longer you let the water sit in this here, the creamier this, I don't even want to call it paint because it's not really paint, but I don't even know what to call it. It's like a mist in a jar, a dried mist in a jar. And I'm just going to tap it on some spots. Not everywhere. just to give it that golden glow. And you can still see the brown and the copper underneath because I'm not hitting all the spots. Okay, can you see how shiny that is? It just glows. I love it. I guess it's aptly named Get Glowing. Okay, we're going to heat set that. I know, lots of heat setting. And then we can actually start putting stuff together. Sorry, my hand's in the way. One of the things that I found, and I don't know if you guys feel the same way or not, whenever I use mists, sprays, and especially anything with like a mica powder in it, mica and color together, I find that if you let it dry by itself, it seems to dry brighter and darker than if you heat set it. It's like the heat affects it somehow. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what I found. Okay, so there's our book. There's the bottom, which has a little bit of spray on it. I'm not worried about it. I'm going to go ahead and lay it down, and I'm going to get my stack of papers and with our lace on it. Okay, so you can see that. You can see it's mostly the edges that I've hit with the T, and I want to glue that on here, and I haven't decided exactly. I'm thinking maybe like this. All right, but because I have the thick lace, it's not going to lay flat. So, cardboard to the rescue, or chipboard, I guess I should say. And I will use the Fabri-Tac on this. Beacons 3-in-1 is a good glue as well. And once again, these papers are loose, but once we get everything sandwiched together, it's not gonna move. It's not gonna go anywhere unless you try and pull the papers out. And then I'm gonna go ahead and hit the bottom of the lace with some glue, and then I'm gonna place it. So now I just got to decide where I want it. And I'm thinking about like that. This is actually upside down from the last one, but that's okay. And then I want to add some papers to it. And actually, I'm going to try and get some of the red off my hands, as much of it as I can. Okay, and I've already pre-cut everything, so you don't have to watch me fussy cut because that would be painful. Okay. Alright, here's my 3 pieces. And these are papers from Graphic 45's Rare Oddities. I love the Graphic 45 papers. My favorites are definitely what I would consider their Halloween collection. Okay, and this one here is definitely a must-have. Okay, I've used 3, 4 different papers. I'll show you the whole collection. Okay, because I think you need to see these. They're so beautiful. The back. I love this with the owls. I know I'm going sideways, guys, but I can't fit it in the other way. These are books. More books. I love this, even on this side. Purple, gorgeous, rich purple. These are all pieces that you could, or a sheet that you cut apart. So I didn't use that. I love the paisley. That's one of my favorites. And then, of course, the main, like the frame that they have. Okay, and something new they started doing was to give you templates. I love it. This is a gorgeous, gorgeous collection, and if you love fall or Halloween, you could definitely use this. And my project is not Halloween themed, it's more fall, and it works. Okay, so the papers that I actually used are the Charmed, I'm sure, the Paisley, okay? The Ghostly Greetings, which is the one with the owls, and I'm actually only using an owl on that one. I'm using the Cabinet of Curiosities, which I'm using that one. So I've already cut it apart on another piece because there's three sheets of each one, okay? And then this one here is Random Relics, and I'm using this one here and this one down here, okay? And I've picked out the papers that I did for the colors, you know, the individual cut aparts were picked specifically for color, okay? So this is a gorgeous collection. You should definitely pick it up. You won't regret it, I promise you, especially if you're a huge fan of Graphic 45 papers, or you love fall or Halloween. What's the word I'm looking for? Themed papers, or doing that kind of stuff. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and add this paper here. And I'm going to, I think I'm going to do it this way. And I glued that down. That was silly. And I just ripped that paper, but it doesn't matter because it's not going to show. Okay. I forgot I was putting that in here. I'm just going to slip it in here. And I'm doing this one a little bit different than I did on the other one. On this one here, I had picked a different paper, so I stuck the flower on this end. This time, I'm going to stick it on this end. Okay? So let me glue that down. And you don't need a lot of glue to hold it in place. That's it. Okay? And then on top of that, I want to glue this book. Okay? So I need more cardboard so that the height is the same. Okay? So just adding a little bit of glue. And just making sure it's not on top of the lace. Okay, so now I need to glue this. And how do I want it? Do I want it more straight? I think I want it kind of sort of at an angle. So I'm going to go ahead and add glue. I mean, you can put it all straight. I just kind of like the look of the papers sticking out. Yeah, about like that. Okay. Believe it or not, we're actually almost done, which is surprising. Okay. Now I do have two more of the cut aparts, and I know you won't see them very much, but I do want them on there anyways because they will add a little bit of color. Okay, so I'm just going to put them about like that, but I want my doily in here as well because I'm hiding the bewitch part. Okay, so let me glue the doily. And of course, you know, if you have some of the gorgeous Prima dies in your stash, you can cut your own doilies. I do, but I didn't do that. I didn't even think about it, which is kind of silly. All right, now I do want this one here sticking out this way, I think. Okay. So it's just color on color on color. Let me wipe my bottle because it's oozing. All right, I need to have my other books kind of closer so I can see what I've done here. That's one of the things about doing a project ahead of time. You don't always remember exactly what you did. Sorry, had to get a drink of water. Okay, next step. I have some ribbon, and this is ribbon from my stash. It is a shimmer ribbon. Just a little bit of shimmer to it, okay? And it's a sheer. Excuse me. And I'm just going to wrap it around the book, or books, I should say. And I'm not even gluing that in place. Now the reason I'm doing this is because the reason I'm doing this part first is because my owl is going to, sorry, I know I'm close to the camera there, is going to nest right on top of this. Okay, so I'm just going to make a loop, and I am going to add a spot of glue. And just hold it for a minute, and then I'll go ahead and make my bow. And the great thing about this type of ribbon, the sheer, and this with or without the shimmer, is that there's really not a wrong side to it. So if you're not very good at tying bows, like me, it makes your life a little bit easier. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and make my bow. And of course the wire helps a lot because it helps you to shape it. So that you can poof it out. Of course, if you prefer it flat, you can do that too. So you guys getting excited for Unicamp? I am. That's not that far away, guys. I don't know how long exactly. I haven't counted. I'm just going to cut a V at the end, so I just fold it in half. For those of you who don't know how, I'm folding my end in half and just holding it, and then on the free side, cutting up at an angle. That's it. That's how easy that is, and I want that to drape like that. And that's easy, right? If I can do this, you can do this. Trust me on that part. All right, the fun stuff. I have, let me put that aside. This is dollar store flowers, you guys, okay? And there is something else that I would like to show you at some point in time, what you can do with those flowers. And I will, maybe on the next one. We'll see what I come up with. So I want to cut, I need, let me see here. How did I do that? I want to cut flowers from it. So I'm just cutting the whole stem. And I need one more, let me pick, I can pick that one right there. Actually I messed that up. Okay. Hang on. I need the stem from that one. That was silly. Because that's one of the ones that drapes around the side. Okay. So I am going to take the leaves off. I don't need the leaves. I am going to leave at least a couple of them. Can't do that side. A couple of them on the stems. Okay. But once again, I don't need the leaves. And then this one here, I actually don't need the whole thing. Okay. I just need the flower itself. Now, if you wanted to give the flowers some shine, you could certainly go ahead and give them a little shot of mist, whatever color you like. But we're not going to do that tonight. What I am going to do, though, is play with the leaves. And this is actually the difference. And all I did was to rub on some metallic paint. That's it. Okay. I'm using, this is Decor Lumiere paint, and this is metallic olive. If you don't have Lumiere, any kind of metallic paints, like 13 Arts has a lot of metallic paints. I'm sure that you could find the right color in there, or even Craft Store. I do have that one as well. It doesn't matter. It's metallic. You just want it to have a shimmer. So I'm just going to put some on the side, and I'm going to use my finger. Okay. And I'm just going to rub it on. That's it. And because I'm doing it with my finger, I'm getting a really light coat on, and I can stretch it, and it's not going to go everywhere, and that's exactly what I want. I don't want it to cover the whole leaf. Oh, that leaf's messed up, but that's okay. So yeah, I don't want it to cover the whole leaf. I just want it to give it some shine. Okay? So, I mean, you could do that with a different color if you wanted to. It doesn't matter, right? All right, let me get the green off my fingers before I get that everywhere. Okay. All right, so now we're ready to start building up with our flowers. And the first flower that I have are the Prima flowers. I love these, the kindled flowers. This is kindled sienna. It's gorgeous. And of course, I use the pale orange one on this one here, which, oh, too close to the light. Okay. I think I'm going to use the brown one tonight. Okay. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of my leaves and I'm just going to glue my flower into it. And actually, I meant to remove the little plastic piece. All that stuff comes off. Real easy, okay? So I'm going to glue my flower into the center of it, okay? And then I want to give it some height. So what are we going to use to give it some height? Cardboard. So let me just cut myself a couple strips here. Can't remember how many I used, but so I'm just going to glue this to the back side because I want it to be right here, right in front of my bow, but I don't want it to be flat on the book. So let's see, is it 2? Is it 2? No, it's 3. So I've got 3 layers of cardboard on my flower, okay? I'm not going to glue it right yet because I need to glue the purple flowers first. So, I just need to get a feeling. Let me move the book up. Get a feeling for where they're going to land. And I'm thinking that's pretty good right there. So I'm going to cut my stem, okay? And glue that in place. And none of this is going to show, so you can go ahead and put as much glue as you want. Stick into my fingers. And then the next one, which is this one here with the bud. Guess you can see that better that way, okay? And I want my bud like this, roughly, and my flower sticking out at this end. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of fold that back a little bit and cut my stem. Oh, I probably should use my pliers. Use the pliers, make your life easier. Okay. And I want it pretty much like that. Some more glue. Okay. A little bit more like this. Maybe a little bit further back. Okay. Now we can glue our gorgeous Prima flower on top of that. Okay, and I do want the leaves, one of them at least, sticking up. This one here. Ooh, lots of glue. Okay. And next flowers are Petaloo. This is from Penny Lane Collection. This is called Mixed Blossoms Antique Rose. Okay. And you can see this dark pink one here because for the other book I actually sprayed it with this, the Bougainvillea Fuchsia. I'm probably not saying that right, but I'm not going to spray that tonight. I'm going to use the white one just to add some contrast. Whoops, I think I just lost a flower. I did. Okay. Isn't that beautiful? With just a little pink edge. And since we're using the pinks and the purples and the oranges, it works. So I'm just going to place that one there. Okay, I don't know if you can see that's right here. Okay, and put that one away because I'm done with that one. And now I'm going to take out the Prima flowers again. And these are Florella. And these are absolutely gorgeous. So now I'm just going to pick and choose what I want. I need 3 flowers. And I'm going to stick to my color combination. So I have this one here that's got purples and oranges on it. I'm thinking that would be pretty right there. I do want a yellow one right about there. And I'm thinking I'm going to use the other pink one. Okay. Let me move that out of the way because I need to add this flower before I add these. So I'm going to tuck this flower underneath my ribbon. And you can see that I'm covering up a lot of these graphic 45 papers. But you can still see bits and pieces of it. Oh, and I forgot a leaf. I need a leaf. So I'm just going to cut into it. I actually need 2. So there we go. That's garbage. Or for next time. And I want that one to go right about, I'm going to tuck it underneath my paper. Okay, just so it peeks out. And then I'm going to put this one here at the front. Okay, I just want it. There goes my screen. I actually want it underneath the doily, so I'm kind of got to play with it to decide where you want the leaf. I'm thinking that's a pretty good spot right there, and I can pull out my flower. Okay, and let's glue the rest of these in place. Do want this one sticking out, so I'm going to lift up my flower, or my leaf I should say, and then this pink one is going to go just on the side here, right there underneath my ribbon, kind of hidden a little bit by the flower. And then the last one will be the yellow one, and that's going to go underneath my leaf. So far, what do you think? Pretty good? Well, it really does look a lot darker than it is. Okay, so a couple more things. I have my little owl, which I've cut out of the paper. Where's my paper? I need my paper. Okay. Apparently I need 2 hands. Okay, so when I cut him out, I obviously didn't bother with the key, but I did leave a tail. And you can see that right here. Okay, this little bit of a tail. So I just cut a little bit longer. And the reason I did that is because I need to be able to fold it so I can have something to glue onto the bow, which is going to go right there. Okay, so let's go ahead and add some glue to that. And you really don't see that with the flowers around it. Well, stay in place now. I think I need to hold it for just a minute. Okay, so I don't know if you can, I think from this angle you might see it better. There we go. It's upside down, but there you go. Hard figuring out the angle this way. There we go. That's much better. Look at that. Okay, and just a couple more things. I cut out from the paisley paper. I cut out the larger paisleys. Okay, you can cut out the small ones if you want. That's up to you. I did use the Vintage Photo Distress ink around this and the owl. Okay, and around my pieces, my cut aparts. And I'm just going to fold it up a little bit. Okay, so I have 3 of those. And I'm just kind of mushing them. And there's not really any rhyme or reason to it. I just want them to have some height. Okay, and then I'm going to glue them in place. And I know about where I want some of them, or one of them at least. I want this one underneath here, and I do want it right there. And I may, let me see here, I have some little foam squares which I didn't think about before. I may just add one just to help it along for the height wise, because I do want it to stay up right there. Okay, and then I'll put the next one right down here, and I kind of want it underneath my ribbon, so you might have to just kind of shove it in there. And again, I'll put another foam dot. You don't have to do that. I just want it to stay so you can see what it looks like. And then the last one's going to go down here, which on the other one I don't have a green leaf there, but that's okay. I'm just going to put it over top. And again, I'm going to add my foam piece. And that's it, you guys. How simple was that? Did you think that was easy enough to do? And don't you just love that paper? And here's the side. Move the flower out of the way a little bit so you can see. Okay, you've got your papers all stacked in between. And it's not going to go anywhere because it's held in place with the ribbon. So there you go. Easy peasy project, right? I can do it, you can do it. So that's it. So let me turn the camera back around to me, and I try not to make you crazy here. I may. Oops, sorry. Okay, so there you go. So did you like that project? I hope you did. I am still on Social Stream. I'm going to try and hang in there for a little bit. I know there's a delay. I can't seem to get quite used to the delay. But, yeah. So, one more time. From farther away, you can see it's not, let me back up more. It's not near as dark. Maybe I need to get another light over here. That might be a good idea. So, yeah, that's a project that you can do for any time of the year. Definitely, you can do it as themed. This, to me, is fall. And you could certainly do it for Halloween. You could certainly do that for Christmas decor. Any kind of decor. And it doesn't have to be themed either. Okay? So, I hope you try this. I think you're going to enjoy it. Like I said, if I can do it, you can do it. So definitely try this out. So once again, I'm going to do a couple announcements. Don't forget, Song is going to be on next week, Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm sure she's got a great project for you. Can't wait to see what she does. And also the material supplies that I used tonight that Alda has in the store, they are 10% off. Just go to the Ustream Special tab, and all those products will be listed there. So that's all I have for tonight. I really appreciate you guys coming out and watching the show, and we'll see you next time. Good night, guys. Thank you so much for coming out. Bye.